Okay, so we're gonna go do a one-nighter up at that little lake where I caught some fish in the last video. Um, yeah, it's 6 o'clock p.m. and it's a 1.5 mile hike up there. Yeah, and it's just that little unknown lake that's kind of tucked up there in the old-growth forest that I discovered. Last weekend I explored I think it was 5 lakes overall and tried fishing all of them. And this one was one of 3 that had fish and had the biggest ones. So we're gonna go camp up there for a night and then get up early in the morning and head down into town for my brother's wedding. So great way to fit this in to my week. It's midweek and I wasn't expecting to be back out here for another few weeks, but then I was like, hey, I'm driving that way for the wedding. I'm gonna stop and camp up there. So let's go have a little fish dinner camp out. So I'm standing here just drying off by this little creek, and down comes this creek. I mean, it's very shallow. It's really shallow. Down comes the creek, an 11-inch, maybe a foot long brook trout, just flopping, barely making it over the rocks. I'm almost certain I could have caught it with my bare hands, but I just let it go right down into the lake. Anyways, I followed it, and then as it entered the lake, which just drops straight down into deep water, 2 9-inch trout come up and hang out with it. Anyways, I kind of wish I tried catching it. I should have. I just let it go though. I'm gonna go grab my pole. We're gonna see if we can catch that fucker, because it was big. I was also here, last weekend, and I was fishing this lake and looking all around in the deep, clear waters for fish. Not a single fish, not a single bite. A lot of newts though. Anyways, so that's just crazy that, all of a sudden there's just some big fish right where I was fishing for a while and looking for a while and swimming. So anyways, look at this beautiful vine maple. And we're just gonna go right through it like so. Oh, get our fishing pole. Just this immaculate forest. Some really big western red cedars in here. Well, I turned on the camera hoping that would be my lucky cast, and then I get my first snag after like 20 casts. Anyways, these fish ain't going for my lure, and I'm not being very stealthy at all either, but they're not afraid. They're right below me. They're in a really, really difficult spot to fish, so it's like, whatever. If I had a 3-pronged spear, which I could go make in the woods right now, I could stab these guys. I mean, they're like right below me, and they don't care. They know I'm here. They jumped at my lure once. Anyways, but I don't have a lot of daylight, so I'm not gonna do any spear fishing right now. just gonna go up and make camp and then catch some smaller trout. Can't get through there. I don't have enough time to film everything, but I deconstructed a very old fire pit that was almost covered with pine needle duff, almost all of it, and then there was young trees growing up in it. But anyways, I don't think removing the rocks hurt much, except for some small like insect habitat, which I kind of felt bad about because it looked really nice, and there's a lot of fungi growing down in there. But you know, us humans are always going to be disturbing some sort of micro habitat when we go out there, and you know, we just got to minimalize that as much as possible and just be aware of even the small itty bitty things. But I want a fire and I want a nice fire pit, and it's just one of those selfish things I'm gonna have to go through with, I guess. But we're minimalizing our impact in other ways, hopefully. As I walk through the forest, there's a lot of young vegetation coming up everywhere. But if you move slowly and you look closely, there are a lot of places you can walk and step very intentionally and methodically to avoid stepping on new vegetation. So, wow, just the mosquitoes are coming out of nowhere all of a sudden. What the hell? That is wild. Let's have a look here. This video is getting long. Here's our new constructed fire pit, and here's our firewood. We're gonna sleep right here. big one. Yeah. That's way bigger than the last ones. Oh my god. No shit. That thing is huge. That was the first cast. I'm using the Panther Martin size 6. About 2 feet of leader, and that is a 6-pound test line. And then we have a size 7 barrel swivel, and that's it. And then my main line here is like 20-pound test something. Let's give it another throw, another cast. There was a bigger fish than this one that was chasing it. It's pretty nice. Do I go for a bigger one? Maybe. This is like the 4th fish. Quite a few of them have been keepers, but every time I bring one in, there's like three really like 10, maybe 11-inch trout that are right on its tail that want it. Alright, last cast, then we gotta get back before dark. Let's see what we do. Shit. Piece of shit. God, that just keeps fucking dumb piece of crap. The mosquitoes are really getting on my nerves. of a pain in the ass to open. Oh man, notice how everything's so hard to open. It's like, it got so late on me and I haven't eaten. I'm hungry and I worked all day. I'm pissed. I'm alright though. It's a good time. Normally I'd eat the skin, but I kind of burnt it. It's a bummer. Cheek meat. Always get that cheek meat. So let me just describe this little lake to you. It's kind of more of a pond, and there's no creek going out of it, and there's a little seep coming in, but it's not, I wouldn't call it a creek. It's absolutely full of fairly large trout. It's small. It looks deep though. It looks like it could be like 15, maybe 20 feet deep out in the middle. As I'm talking, there are tons of fish just jumping. It's like this little miracle hole in the middle of this ancient forest. It just kind of comes out of nowhere, and yet it's full of fish. It's insane. And I'm walking around up in the woods away from the lake, and I run into a beaver skull. And this was 3 or 4 days ago. So I took the beaver skull, and it's in my car, and I'll show you guys here when I get back down there. and in case you're wondering, I'm going to bring the beaver skull back eventually this year. I just want to show people. But I want to leave it here in its resting place because it's where it belongs. But I'm wondering now if this lake is an ancient beaver pond. And I'm like, how could beavers even be up here? How did they get here? And I'm like, did somebody bring that skull up here? You know, and just leave it? But then I find, it's right over here. But then I find these chewings. These are fresher. I mean, these are like probably from last year. And then there's more all through here. And there's some definitely much older ones back up in these trees here. You know, once I started paying attention, there's quite a few chewings all through here. And some older ones up in the woods. Well, my camp, I'm sure, smelled very fishy last night, and I was wondering if a bear would come around, but honestly, the black bears in these mountains, they're not dangerous. I had my knife right by me, but I was wondering where they are, and if they're in this area, and we found some poop. It's very moist. When I poke it with a stick, it goes through easily, but to me it looks a little old, like a month or two. Probably like a month.